Welcome to First Sun News. This is ARGHO MITRA. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has recently given very important statements regarding India. Here you can see dozens of articles have been published on this saying that India will not tolerate humiliation. India will not allow the US to humiliate it in the matter of oil. Putin has spoken frankly. The first thing is that we want to continuously supply oil to India. And India is a country with which we have never had any problems nor any tensions. And whatever steps we have always taken them keeping India's sensitivities in mind. And very soon Russia will start purchasing India's agricultural products, meaning rice and various other things that we export. Russia is also saying that it will start purchasing India's medical products, India's pharmaceutical items, so that India does not face much loss. Because Putin has openly said this, that India has two options in front of it. Either continue purchasing oil from Russia. If we do not do this, if we do not purchase oil from Russia, then India will suffer a loss of $9 to $10 billion because Russian oil is relatively cheaper than international oil prices. If we take oil according to international oil prices and do not purchase Russian oil, then that loss is certain for us. On the other hand, if we see the US tariffs that can be imposed on us, the overall loss from that too will be around the same, $9 to $10 billion. So Putin has said that when on both sides India is seeing the same option, that here also $1 billion loss, there also $1 billion loss, then obviously India will choose that fine, let the loss happen, but at least we will keep our pride intact. We do not want that the Americans, in the way they are saying, that India will come apologizing in 2 months and completely bow down, like Howard Lutek has given the statement that India will come apologizing within 2 months, and then we will decide what to do with India. So this type of humiliation India will never allow. India will at least say that we will continue to purchase oil from Russia, whatever happens. Here you can see the people of a country like India, not just the government. He has spoken of the people. Believe me, they will closely monitor the decisions made by the political leadership. This is a very interesting statement that today people have so much awareness regarding geopolitics that people will properly observe what decisions India's leadership is taking. And people will never allow that India gets humiliated in front of anyone. Now, if you speak from a criticism perspective, you can also say that Vladimir Putin, President of Russia, has to sell his oil. Obviously, he will say such things. He will want that India should never stop purchasing oil from Russia. For Russia, it is quite important that India continuously keeps purchasing oil from Russia. And that is why Putin mentioned here that if India, suppose, listens to the USA, then this will be a kind of humiliation, and India will never tolerate such humiliation. He has categorically said this. I know Prime Minister Modi, he himself would never take any steps of that kind. The losses faced by India due to punitive US tariffs would be balanced by crude imports from Russia. Plus it will gain prestige as a sovereign nation. So again, this is really interesting. I have never seen Vladimir Putin speaking so honestly. The loss that Trump will give India, the same benefit Russia will give to India in discounted oil, and at the same time, internationally Americans will also note that everyone bowed down. Japanese bowed down, South Koreans bowed down, Europeans came to us, but Indians did not change their policy at all. As a sovereign nation, India stood firm on its stance. And further, Putin also said that right now the trade between India and Russia is very much in Russia's favor. Almost like this, that if Russia and India's trade is, suppose, $50–60 billion ours, then India exports to Russia around $5 to $10 billion, perhaps even less. The rest Russia exports to India. So basically, Russians are not purchasing much from India. That is why they have clearly said that we will purchase agricultural products from India and will take certain steps so that we purchase medical products from India too, primarily pharmaceuticals. Now this question can come in your mind, that okay, will this help us? Because India's exports to the US must have decreased, and overall India's exports must have dropped. Well, no. Recently a very interesting data has come forward. Now remember that Trump had earlier imposed 25% tariffs on India. This was imposed at the beginning of August. Then an additional 25% tariffs were imposed, making the total tariffs reach 50% on India. But if you see in the month of August, India's exports increased almost 10%. Here you can see India's exports increased 9.34% to $69 billion US dollars. And obviously reading this one has to say, nice. In the month of August, we exported $69 billion. The most were electronic products, then pharmaceutical items. Remember, in India, continuously new smartphones are being assembled, in many cases altogether manufactured. Exports of electronic goods have increased 26% compared to August last year. However, one element I must add, that the 50% tariffs Trump imposed on India do not include electronic items, nor pharmaceutical items, branded, because the 100% tariffs Trump has imposed on pharma items are not on generic drugs, and we mostly export generic drugs to the USA, so India's exports are already increasing considerably. At least in the month of August, it seems as if nothing happened. September's data will be interesting to see. Most probably it will come by October 10th, 15. If in September also India's exports remain around $69 billion, then it means India has completely ignored Trump's tariffs. Zero impact. And now Russia is also saying that we too want to purchase items from India.